everybody, and welcome to Coffee Conversations. Today, as many of you know, we have a very special treat. Something that is probably the most dearest to my heart besides Roofers Coffee Shop is National Women in Roofing. I'm Heidi Ellsworth. I am an owner and partner with Roofers Coffee Shop, and today I have the co-chairs of National Women in Roofing in the coffee shop, and that is Jennifer Stone, who is with John's Manville, and Renae Bales with KPost. Ladies, welcome.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. We have a full house out there. I'm telling you, we have all kinds of people online. Thank you so much for being here today. And I just want to remind everybody that this is a live Q&A, right? I was teasing Jennifer and Renae yesterday, and I said, this is like The View, but all about roofing. And so we're going to have some great conversations and some great chats. And what we really want is to have all of you be a part of this conversation today. So in the background, we have Miss Megan Ellsworth, and she's going to be chatting with anybody and everybody out there to see who wants to ask a question, make a comment, share a story. We don't care. We just want to hear what you have to think, what's happening with women in your company, what's happening in your area, and share with Jennifer and Renae. And in the meantime, we have questions that have already come in. So we're going to start there today and start talking about what's happening in National Women in Roofing right now. So I probably, amongst the three of us, we can't believe that anybody doesn't know what National Women in Roofing is, right? Everybody knows?
Right.
No? Yeah. But just in case there is that one person out there, Renae, will you start us off and just kind of give the elevator speech, let everybody know what is National Women in Roofing?
Yes, thanks, Heidi. National Women in Roofing is a volunteer-based organization, and really our primary thing is to support and advance women in the roofing industry. We offer mentoring, education, industry recruitment, and networking opportunities for these women. And Heidi and Jennifer both, I think, you've been in the industry long enough, and it's just a matter of, here and there you pick up on different people or that one right person that helps launch you, helps educate you, helps move you forward. And this is a great place to allow that opportunity to happen.
It really is. It's a safe place. It's a safe place where you can really kind of help grow your career and make things happen. And speaking of that, and I'm going to throw a little bit, but Renae, before we go too far, I would love it if you would introduce yourself too. I just want people to know you because you're so amazing. So can you just tell everybody a little bit about where you work, what you do, a little bit of your history?
Yes, I work for KPost Roofing in Dallas. We are a commercial roofing contractor, and one of the owners also started a residential roofing contractor. I'm the vice president of brand and risk, and so that covers anything that comes out of here with a logo on it, from a truck to a t-shirt to an ad somewhere comes out of our offices. We do all the contracts for the company. We do banking, surety, insurance, and then I help with the residential team as well. So I've been here for 12 years, I think maybe 13. So I came in actually as for both of the owners actually as their assistant years ago, and just over the course of time began doing more and more and more. And was promoted to a vice president. So, I work someplace that they value a good work ethic and what you're doing, and it doesn't matter if you're male or female.
And I've heard a rumor, actually it's not a rumor, I know it's the truth, that all of the women and a number of the men at KPost are members of National Women in Roofing.
Yes, every woman that is hired at KPost becomes a member, and we do have some male members as well. And I know renewals came out the other day, so I know one of those male members said, "Do I need to renew, or you guys are going to do it for us?" And so yeah, but we renew everybody every year, and the company pays for it.
Yeah, it's more than just saying it; it's doing it, and that is we're going to talk a lot about that today. I think that's really what it comes down to. So. Before we get to that, let's talk just a little bit about the history. So I want to start this in that in 2014 or 15, maybe somewhere in there, Karen Edwards and I were at a bar at IRE, which probably no one is surprised about. That happens. And I had this gentleman come up and say, I want to introduce you to this young lady who's just gotten involved in our company and who is running our roofing division, doing marketing, all these different things. And up stepped Jennifer Stone. And Jennifer Stone said, I want to talk to you. And that's how our conversation has been ever since. So Jennifer, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what your part of the history of National Women in Roofing.
Well, I'm thankful that I did meet you that day and that gentleman said, listen, I know exactly who you need to talk to. And her name is Heidi. I think you two are going to click. So stop talking to me so much and go talk to her about these things.
Thank goodness.
Okay. So now I forgot what you asked me. All right. So I'll just say real quick that I'm Jennifer Stone. I work for Johns Manville, which you said, which is great. I work on our owner services team, which is a national account team that really works with owners. I've been with JM for about 2.5 years. And before that, I was on the contracting side. So with the roofing contractor and really on the operations, roofing, business development side is incredible. And how it started really for me with National Women in Roofing is my friend Liz Garza, who is part of National Women in Roofing, has this saying, and it says, she says, be the change. And when I moved from I got into roofing from the horticulture side, green roofing. And when I came into the roofing side, there was some issues there with feeling included and seeing diversity. And I started to complain a bit about it and how women were, being treated in certain areas and potential and what I saw. And it really came to that saying that she has about you have to be the change. And then when I met you, Heidi, there was a group of women that got together and through some other forces and such, we came together and started this association to make sure that there was always that inclusion and networking and education available to be very specific towards women and growing that diversity in roofing.
And, the thing is that, again, and I just want to say, Johns Manville was one of the first, along with SRS sponsors of National Women in Roofing and the Roofing Alliance. There's so many. I got to be careful when I say first. But, and Jennifer Ford Smith was part of the initial executive team also. So, but I want to point out, too, just having been part of that history, I want to point out that, and this is going to be close to Renee's heart, is that it takes everybody. It takes everybody to start this kind of an association. So I want to do a shout out to Steve Little, who works with Renae Bales at KPost, because Steve was president of MRCA. I pitched this idea to him. I said, we want to do this. And he was one of the first to say, yes, we will support you. And from there, and this is where Jennifer really was saying, Jennifer's like, that's great. It's great we got started, but this has to be national, Heidi, and this needs to be national yesterday. So what are we doing? And so then that was where the second gentleman came in, who I want to call out, and that's Trent Cotney. Because if anybody has been involved in an association or starting an association, you really have zero idea of what you're doing. You just do it. And you just start bringing people together. And then you need people like Cotney Construction Law, who gives back every single day, who's still our general counsel at National Women in Roofing, and makes, all the details happen, right? So I think through that, and then all of the women who came together, it's been a great ride.
Yeah, it definitely has. And when, you talk about the journey and the ride and where we've come, where we started and where we've come, it is incredible. I'll say real quick, Heidi, when we first got together, we put those 5-year plans together, which we met within like a year. And then, even Renae and I today, we're like trying to come up with these strategic long-term plans. But the councils and then our board of directors who run each committee, there's so many women that have so many great ideas. We can't even keep up. We can't even keep up, which we'll talk more about.
that's what I've seen from the very beginning. All the phone calls, all the ideas. I look at all the people who are on this call today. So many of the women who were involved. I mean, Sherry Carlazzi, I got to give a call out to Sherry. She's online. Sherry, we were we did this on a beach at an association meeting, talking through these ideas way back. And so I think really, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but I do want to share with everybody out there, just anything is possible when you bring the great people together. And it's not just about men or women. In this case, it was a lot of amazing women, but it's just bringing people together for that change, Jennifer. I think it's so true. So let's go on, because we're just going to assume everybody knows about National Women Roofing. If you don't, there's the website, you can learn more. So we want to go looking into the future. So 2021, ladies, you have been doing a lot of strategic planning. You are with the board of directors. I get to sit on that and kind of listen in. I'm still get to be kind of like I don't know. I just am like the founding person there who gets to speak every now and then. But you have some really cool goals. So Renae, maybe you can start out. And I just found out about this yesterday. I love this, what you're doing, and that's volunteer development. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so it's something that, we just kind of came across with so many women in the industry and, having boards and having committees. And many of these women have never participated at such level before. And so we just noticed that, and we were looking at across the board that we need to do some leadership training. I think in these roles, I think they can learn a lot from these roles that they're in, and it's things that they can go back and take then into their daily work and into the industry. I know I hadn't been on a board before, so started out on a committee and, worked my way up. But there was a lot I just didn't know. And I think there's so many women out there that could benefit from different trainings that we can put together. And I think their companies will appreciate it, making them stronger within the company and make them, a more viable candidate.
And I think when you're putting volunteer training together like that, or even just hands-on training, being on a committee, being on a council, doing, getting into leadership roles, that is huge ROI for the companies that they work for, because all of a sudden this confidence blooms, and it's easier to speak up. It's easier to share the creativity. I mean, Renae, you've seen that, right? I mean, with all the women who are involved right now.
Yeah, well, and sometimes too, it's easier to speak out, women speaking out with women. And, once you feel that the strength that you've gained and, that you really do know your trade and understand things, they'll definitely feel more comfortable stepping up in other areas. And we really want that for everybody.
Yeah, I love that. I love when you two shared that yesterday, I was just like, brilliant. And I've been working with some other women associations, Women in Metal, different things, and I've been hearing this theme a lot. And I know I'm going to kind of jump just a little bit, Jennifer, but that theme seems to be very active in a lot of professional women's groups right now, is really giving the experience of volunteer leadership opportunities. And that's another goal, right, for National Women in Roofing in 2021, to work with other associations.
Absolutely. So yeah, National Women in Roofing put together sort of 3 overarching goals that filter down through our committees, or really has filtered up through our board of directors and committees. That's really how it happens. We do, what we have is looking at recruitment and sort of this cross-industry development, right? And how we can connect with other associations, other women's groups, other people that are working in the trades, that are working to better all construction and all trades. And that's another one. We have Ellen, our executive director. We've moved to a new association management company, which we'll talk a little bit about later. And Ellen's focus now is a little bit more on that coalition, building coalitions, because there's so much knowledge. There's so many wonderful women's associations and wonderful associations within roofing and construction, and kind of, you know, bridging that gap a little bit. That's another one of our goals this year.
Yeah, you know, we just kind of did it, right? I mean, when I look back over the last 6-7 years, we just did it. And I think there was a beauty in that. I think we knew roofing and we knew what we kind of saw and what we needed. But now you ladies are taking that to the next step. And Ellen leading that is so brilliant because she has she's so good on an association level, things we never knew, right? So when we talk about the history, I think we have to talk about Ellen Thorpe and the fact that she kind of came in and herded cats for a long time. I mean, I know with me,
she still does. She still herds cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's the one who really brought the organization and brought it to work together. And then I know, and Megan, it looks like we have Sherry out there with her hand raised, so we'll bring Sherry on here in a minute. But Sherry, you know, brought more. So we had more detail, more, we always talked about using all the talents of all the women. Yes. And I think we can only learn more from working with other associations, other professional women associations.
Ellen also is part of the larger coalition of associations that came together during COVID, and that has been highly successful. So that PR piece and that coalition piece is going to be a charge of ours for sure.
Yeah, I loved it when during the NRCA town hall, Ellen spoke and she talked about the group she's involved in, which is ERA, the EPDM Roofing Association, National Women in Roofing. She mentioned the Roofers Coffee Shop, which I was like, thank you, Ellen. But to have that collaboration between all these associations, I think is so powerful. So
we have to together to move forward. We have to.
And speaking of working together, and before we're going to have a question here in just a little bit, but before we go to that question, Jennifer, you've been working on something that has been so dear to both of our hearts, and I know with Renae and the committee the board of directors as a whole. But this year it's really come to the forefront, and that's a new committee that you've put together, the DEI. So can you tell us all about that?
Yeah, you know, when you talk about the evolution and the journey, you know, we're all in different spots in our lives and how we see things and how we are. And when we started, we thought putting National Women in Roofing together was the diversity, right? Like, this is so diverse. This is, you know, this is DEI, this is DEI. And then you soon come to realize through the journey of an association and humans that, you know, we could do a little bit more here. We can do a little bit more. And we had a call out for anyone, women, men, anyone who wanted to join the conversation and help us really look at what diversity, equity, and inclusion looked like for National Women in Roofing and the program and the content that we put out. And we had a great group of responses. We had 3 women who really rose to the top with their energy, their passion, their knowledge, and really coming from their own space and story, which was really beautiful. And even pushing me to, let's go. You know, I can't even keep up with them now.
I know.
But so we started a new committee. It is the DEI committee. And there is co-chairs. There is Ray July and Jess Kress, and then the vice chair is Meredith. And we can talk a little bit more about those ladies, and their information will be up on the website soon. And they now are running this committee. And the first goal that committee has is to really create liaisons to every other committee, right? So that every program that we look at, every content we put out, you know, how does this look for diversity? And diversity is one thing, but then when you look at inclusion, what does inclusion mean? You know, it's so different for everyone. It isn't a button you can push or a training that you can do and you're done. And so what does inclusion look like for all women in the roofing industry? And how do we include more women from all backgrounds, you know? And diversity isn't just gender or race. It's economic, you know, it's political association. It's so many things. And how can we start to put that in a framework? So this committee has come together, and I'm really excited to see them start to get more involved and some, you know, impactful program changes within National Women in Roofing.
Yeah. Okay, so for those out there who are maybe wondering, what does DEI stand for?
Yeah.
What is it?
Diversity. It's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And you really have to look at those three components together and separately to have an impact within your associations or business or lives.
And the biggest thing going back to that too, for National Women in Roofing is the inclusion. Making everybody feel welcome, making everybody part of this fabulous group. And I know with, inclusion, I know Jennifer's mentioning women, but, the inclusion goes all the way out to the field, just between different races of employees, or maybe it's even the same race, but it's a different culture within that race, and how to break down those barriers even for them.
And,
Yeah,
I think it's hard to talk, and I want you both you ladies to kind of touch on this, because it is sometimes hard to talk about equity and to talk, because people all of a sudden go, oh, you're talking about my financials, you're gonna hurt me.
You want more money?
Yeah, but we have to, because for so long, and I'm going to kind of call us out, and I'm going to call myself out, but we would be at an event or something, and we'd be really excited about saying, hey, in construction, it's so great because women are making 98% to men, right? And no other area is doing that as much, and most places women aren't getting paid as much and all that kind of stuff. But when you dive deeper and you dive in to women of color, they are not getting 98%. And different ethnicities, different job roles, it is not equitable. And so I love the fact that when you ladies came up with this, and the board of directors and everybody who worked on that, and that I was able to sit in on these committee meetings, that we talk about equitable and fair wages for everybody. Not, I love the fact that National Women in Roofing is diving deeper and really calling.
And we could talk about that the entire hour, right? And there'll be much more to come, because there's a lot there.
It's great. So Renae, one of the things that we kind of talked about too, and then I'm gonna read some of these comments. In fact, I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna read some of these comments, because they're just like, oh, it's so cool. So first of all, I mentioned Sherry, and Sherry just sent a quick note, and she says, I was waving, I'm happy listening. So I just, Sherry, I want you to know we love you, and I'm reading the notes here as we go along. And from Ray July, who's one of our chairs of the DEI, she's also sitting out there listening, and she's like, thumbs up on everything that's going on. But we have some folks here who have sent us in some notes. So Lorna Roaz, who I think we all know, Megan, she just wanted to say National Women in Roofing is a big supporter of diversity. Big supporters in my development. Jennifer and Renae are great. Regards from Lorna. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we've seen over this last year. Thank you, Lorna. And Julie Bosenmeyer, we are a women-owned roofing business. Yes, love that. And company, and we want to mentor women in construction industry also. And they are loving what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So there's another women-owned business. Chelsea Line. National Women in Roofing has been an amazing way for me to network and meet mentors that have been inspiring me since day one. I joined the organization last year, and I've learned so much and met so many wonderful people, even virtually, in such a short time. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about 2020 and COVID and what National Women in Roofing did and how it came together. So Renae, can you start us out? Just your looks at COVID, at 2020, and the role National Women in Roofing played this year.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit kind of a slap in the face, because we had just come off of having such a great IRE. We had such a great National Women in Roofing Day, record attendance. Everybody's emotions are high, spirits are high, and then 30 days later, a massive halt comes to the world. So I felt bad for everybody, just because everybody was so fired up for councils and getting together and all these ideas, and then we all couldn't use those things. So we wanted to be able to keep everybody in communication, and we just didn't want to break that line of communication. So we came up with different educational pieces and virtual pieces to do online. We did safety training. We did the Better Together series. We currently have a series going on for a mental health series. Series on looking forward to the future in roofing. I mean, so we've put all these different ideas together to keep people engaged and keep them knowledgeable about what's going on in the industry. One of my favorite things that has come out from this is with the events committee. They put together a book club. They put together a cooking class. The book club, they actually came together with that, and they actually did it with women in restoration engineering. And so that was a place for us to bring in another association as well. But I know a lot of people had said, like, thank you for hosting these. Thank you for having these. They needed the communication during the time. They needed to see friendly faces, and this is a great way to do it. I think on average, our numbers were about 174 registrants per each one of these items that we had going. And even for the Wind Down Wednesdays with Christine, I mean, there was always something to look forward to or knew was coming up.
Yeah, so as you all know, I love networking, and my favorite were the happy hours. I mean, the education, I love it. It's awesome. It's off the charts, but I just love the happy hours. They were a chance where people could talk about what was going on. And Jennifer, I know you were on a ton of those happy hours. I was too, across the country, because every council was having them. And so we were like, it was an opportunity actually to get to go to council meetings all around the country without traveling. It was cool. So tell us about those and about all the different councils that are out there and how they're dealing with COVID.
Yeah, a couple things. So I think a good thing that the webinars did, the Together More Than Ever series, or one of the benefits, was really that personal connection. And a lot of times, all people that are in their employment and workspace, it's like, nobody knew how to juggle this, right? With all these kids at home and all this stuff, and you're trying to do the best you can for work, but yet, like I have 5 kids at home. I have 5 kids still at home doing school online, Lord help me. And then just that connection of those happy hours coming together regionally with the councils and these sessions where you see like kids climbing on you. And now, Renae just said when I got here, she says, oh my God, your hair is down. All I've seen you is like this messy bun for like 6 months. And that is what makes us feel, more included and whole and wholesome. Like everyone is struggling. Everyone's trying to deal with this. Everyone's wearing sweats now. Everyone has to stop what they're doing and go help their kids and then come back. And those are the kind of things that really help, especially women, because that's mostly what we speak about, come together and feel whole, right? And so that was something that I'm happy that we did. It helps me personally, seeing everyone else's story and be able to kind of have those conversations even at work. Like, listen, this has been months now. I can't be necessarily at full capacity because I also have all of these children at home that can't go anywhere. That's not my fault, I can't do anything about this. But also, I'm a fabulous employee. So what do we do, And thank God I work for such an incredible company. But, everyone needed to have those stories. And so those connections, we have, Renae, 38 councils?
40.
Is that right?
40.
Okay. 40 some councils across the country. And it's been hard to stay connected and get together this year. So this series has really been helpful. And the happy hours are fun because you can just take a second. We've done all sorts of fun things out there, from the book club to now we have a painting night. So sort of mixing that, personal touches, the education, your networking, and then looking at also making sure we're retaining these women in the industry. We don't want to lose women right now during COVID in our industry. We need them. So we have to have this space for conversation.
Yeah. We have, Renae, you mentioned Christine Mackenpoch. She has been
Fabulous.
oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, she's just amazing. And she has come with such creative ideas. She's a council chair right now on the board. She, well, with Karen Edwards, Karen and Christine. And she's just done such a great job. And she just wrote here, and I just, anybody, Christine, anybody out there, if you guys want to come on, just let Megan know. But Christine wrote, National Women in Roofing has been the best and brightest part of the past COVID months. I've had so many forever relationships that may not have happened otherwise. I think it's gonna make me teary. And she says, love this organization of fantastic women. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I'm hearing, because it's really been fun for me to be a little bit backed away a little bit, and I hear so much more. When you, like with you two, you're in the thick of it, you kind of hear all the problems, and then when you get to be a past chair, you get to hear all the great things. It's really awesome. And I hear this all the time. Michelle Boykin, who's on the board and executive, she just said, National Women in Roofing has had a huge impact on me personally, as well as our company. All of the mentors, advocates, and friends I've met through this organization have been amazing. And I know Michelle did a lot of these webinars on how to deal with small children at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know.
If I could jump in real quick, Karen and Christine have been a big part in this as well during the COVID. There are councils, chair and vice chair, and they every week have a call where councils can call in and ask questions, or they talk about different topics, but keeping that line open and alive. And they're out there checking in on councils. If maybe somebody hasn't joined a call for a couple of weeks, they'll call that council person and be like, hey, how can we help you? And they're giving them different ideas during COVID of like, hey, what can you do so your councils can still stay connected? And so they've come up with great ideas, to share with the councils, or maybe the councils have given them ideas and shared it on the calls, but they have done a fabulous job just keeping those councils, like not letting them just fall apart because they can't be together. And so they've been a huge connection for that.
I see. To me, it's one of the most progressive parts of the industry right now. I mean, really learning how to not just say, well, someday it'll all go back to normal and we'll get back to it. Nope. What are we doing right now to help each other and to make this happen? I just think it's incredible. So we have a couple more comments, and I'm going to come back to those in just a minute. But in our description of this coffee conversation, we talk about the recruitment and retainment of women. And I think that is, so we have, in the second half, I really want to focus in on that, on what is happening. So Jennifer Stone, maybe you can talk about first of all, let's just set the base on what has the recruitment committee been doing. I know you guys are probably thinking I forgot about it, but I didn't. That is a 2021 goal, the importance of recruitment. So why don't you share that with everybody?
Sure. Yeah, that rounded out our overall goals, the recruitment. Yeah. During COVID, it was very clear that with all of the unemployment, the layoffs, roofing becoming, essential workers, of course, that there was opportunity there for us to really try to recruit into the industry and tap into, some potentially unemployed or people that were looking for a career switch. And our recruitment committee, which is run by Paula and Brenna, incredible women. And talk about two other women I can't keep up with. They put together this recruitment where people could post classified ads for free and really look at recruiting into our industry. So just like anything, we start sort of a pilot program. We look at it, we plan it out, we pivot into something else. And this is one of them. So one of the great achievements here is within like a 3-month time, we had 500,000 impressions on the ads for recruiting. I mean, that was incredible. So we took that and we looked at what can we do here. We spent a lot of time in our own industry and sort of, marketing, if you will, to the normal group, right? What we're used to going after. We've partnered with Roofers Coffee Shop for our classified ads, which is fantastic. And we appreciate that. But how can we go outside? And that kind of talks about other associations and networking. That's another part of our goal. So the recruitment committee has looked at new ways to target, right? So there's a new marketing campaign coming out. We're also kicking off the year with this Roofing Is campaign, which will all tie back into recruiting so that we can reach outside of our industry, right? What does that look like? How do we target hospitality? How do we target different schools? How do we look at our diversity in recruiting, not looking at the same old, right? To really be able to pull talent from other pools so we can have the best of the best that could have been overlooked. So that campaign kicks off in January, so you'll see a lot more of that, but really recruiting. And then the second part of recruiting is really retaining, right? Retaining women in the industry. And National Women in Roofing is just one of those tools that can be used to retain women and help with that inclusion. It's not the end-all answer for everyone. It can be.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just another one of those tools to be able to retain women once they come into the industry. So recruitment is focusing heavily on those two things.
Well, and I think, again, I'm going to go back to where we first started. And Renae, maybe you can talk about this a little bit. But when you see the company you work for investing in you through membership, through sponsoring, through helping with these initiatives, and KPost has been, I mean, just the leader in this. What does that do for the how does that help with your retention at KPost? How has that kind of helped you?
Well, you know, the thing about that too, Heidi, going all the way back kind of to the beginning, you know, Steve had said to me in the beginning, like, hey, do you want to be the communications chair for National Women Roofing? So you remember our newsletters back in the day. So it was like quite comical as compared to what we have now. But you know, like,
a long way.
We have a long way. So, but I'm just saying from, you know, day one, like they were like, hey, you know, participate in this. And so, you know, Dallas has a local chapter here that, you know, we have hosted different meetings on our campus, or we've sponsored an event that they might be having. And in our office, I think there's about 40 women. But they encourage all of us to go. Like if the event's going to be in the afternoon somewhere, to go ahead and go. They encouraged everybody to go to National Women in Roofing Day. And I just know the girls came back after that and just, you know, it was for a lot of them, it was the first time to go because it was in Dallas and they didn't have to travel. So for them, they came back like, wow, now we see the bigger picture. But I think it's a great tool for them too, because they themselves have met so many people just even here in the Metroplex that they wouldn't have known before, and have different connections. And then, you know, nationwide they do as well. And again, I would like for them to, you know, join some committees and also go through the leadership development. And I think that'll be another asset for KPost.
Yeah. That's what I really want to talk a little bit about, the ROI, because a lot of times, you know, I know there's a lot of people who believe in National Women in Roofing to their toes, right? But I know there's probably some people out there too who think, it's kind of nice, you all get together. I remember at one point, and that's probably my fault, where they're like, you just get together and drink wine and that's it. Which is not a bad thing, but again, it's so much more. And so for all of the roofing and distribution, all the owners out there, all the senior management folks who are listening, I think the ROI of diversity is something you have to put into your 2021 planning. It is one of the most important things you can do for your company. The diversity of creativity, of thought, of regionally, of gender, of race, of sexual orientation, it doesn't matter. Those type of things make a difference in a company that really study after study after study show that it's more profitable, and it's also grows revenue on the top end. So Jennifer, what are you, I mean, John's Manville, I mean, obviously huge, and they give back so much to National Women in Roofing, not just in sponsorship, but in time, your time, Jennifer Ford Smith time, Melissa Walker's time. I mean, so many women there who have done things. How does that work? What kind of retainment do you see that helping with John's Manville?
I'm not even sure how to answer that question because it's so deeply personal, right? You know, JM they're all in, right? They're all in. You know, when you look at sponsorship, that's one thing that, you know, doesn't always come out in dollar and cents, right? Is the time invested. We have so many big companies that are, you know, really allowing these women to gather, form, spend time, and be invested as part of their job. And JM is no exception. You know, I spend a lot of time on National Women in Roofing, especially the last couple of years. I'll move to past chair this year, and so that some other people can spend some time. But that is such an important component. And it also, of course, you know, like Renae, you were talking about the women within your industry. I know there's so many other GAF. You know, Jennifer Keegan is on the board, and, you know, she started talking about this mental health matters, and GF was like, yes, let's get involved. You know, SRS has a women's leadership, and the retention that you see when you allow this sort of involvement in the industry, in any association, but especially something that focuses so much on feeling included, is, I don't even know how to answer that. Because it's such a massive question, right? When you talk about the ROI, I mean, there's so many studies about effectiveness of diverse teams and all of this that, to me, it's like, why are we even still talking about this? But
well,
but I'm thankful, really thankful. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, one thing I was going to say too, you know, so Jennifer, I know when we go to speaking engagements that you're always, you know, to me, you've always come off as pretty cool and collected, and then, you know, I get behind the scenes with you, and you're a little, you appear to be a little bit panic stricken before this all happens. And so, you know, before National Women in Roofing, like, you know, I'm here doing my job. I'm not out. I mean, of course, I'm talking within our company, but I'm not out talking to big groups of people. And that is something that I would have said at the time, like, scares the living bejeebers out of me. But now, like, I feel comfortable with it. And it's something that I've gotten from being part of National Women in Roofing and being put in those positions. And I would probably say here back in the office, they might say now, like, I probably speak up and say a little too much sometimes, but, you know, but I think that's a good thing as well.
But it really is about, you know, helping people find their voice. You know, there's a great quote by Ruth Ginsburg that says, you know, use your voice even if your voice shakes, right? Yeah. And I definitely have tried since, you know, joining this association and helping really pilot programs. You know, I try to use my voice. I don't always say it right. Most of the time I don't. And sometimes my voice shakes, and I still try to get it out. And hopefully that is, you know, inspiring to other women. You know, Renae, we've talked about this. I don't always do it right. You know, I was nervous this morning. I'm always nervous because this is so important to me. I don't want to screw it up, right? And so it's good for us to be human and see those things and come together.
And you know, I want to point out two things that you both have said here, and it's that in the companies, allowing women to get to do these things, to get the more professional and stuff like that, because guess what, if the men are doing it, the women should be doing it. It's just that simple. And so I'm always the one now that I can shake the boat a little bit. Not that I guess I've always done that, but the thing that's going to come down to it is the companies who do not create a culture of inclusiveness, of everybody being able to do the things that they need to do for their career, which then comes back to the company. It's not even about ROI at that point. This is about, you're losing talent, because this is not something that's going to go away. I think there's a lot of times people are like, oh, they'll get tired, they'll go away. No, it's not. And it's really for 2021 planning, and as people are looking at as management is looking at what they're doing, it's not just about women, it's about everyone. Professional career growth, networking, really moving beyond some of the old barriers. And that's where diversity really will start taking root, because you'll be looking outside of yourselves. One of the things I love about National Women in Roofing is that when you go into a council meeting, when you go into any meeting, the competition is left at the door. And
oh yeah.
And so as
For
you
sure.
and we've had this I've had this conversation with so many different folks, but they're like, well, my competitor's there, so I'm not sure I should be there or talking and stuff. And we're like, leave it at the door. We're not interested. Let's go in there and become the best professional we can become. And I think that's made a real difference in the industry.
It's also interesting, Heidi, that you know, we've gotten that a lot with National Women in Roofing. Is I don't want all these women together talking about business. But yet other associations and groups and forums have been together forever talking about the same thing. Why wouldn't we want women to feel just as empowered to be educated? And you know, there's so many emails right now between councils even that are going around like, hey, you know, what is this OSHA standard and this? You need a tribe where you can feel comfortable to ask questions, be included, get answers, and grow the whole industry.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic.
Okay. Speaking of coming together, we have two people who we're going to bring on right now, and I'm really excited about this. We are going to bring on Karen Edwards and Christine Mackenpoch, and they're going to talk about councils. They're like going, yeah.
Hi, girls.
Christine, I do believe you are unmuted as well.
Hi. Yeah, I'm on my phone. That's probably why it can't video, but it's so exciting to listen to you guys talk, because I think back to 2017. And I'm like, yeah, what's this National Women Roofing? Yeah, you want me to start a council? What do I do? We don't have a toolkit. We don't have anything. We just kind of wing it. And just to see the progression that we've made over the years, and so much information is available for all these people that want to start councils now. And it's so exciting to find that person that gets exposed to it and gets excitement. And it's like firecrackers. It just multiplies across the country. And like I said in the comments, this whole COVID thing, there is not too many positives in this COVID mess, but this is just the bright shining star. You know, we started with those weekly wind downs just because everybody needed a break on Wednesday night. You know, it's like we could just come together and reset and share with one another. But, you know, we learned to become our authentic self, and we've learned so much and grown from each other. And I'm just so excited about it. And you guys, you know, sometimes there's a little lull and nothing's going on, but when you have a meeting and you get everybody together again, the excitement just blossoms again. And I'm excited to be on the council's committee chairing with Karen, because we're just seeing it explode across the country. So I want to thank you all for having this webinar. It's a great start to my day.
I love it. I love it. Karen, there are so many comments on here about how do I start a council? How do I get involved? I just want to read. Melissa Simon just said, I love River's Coffee Shop. Melissa, I love you. Thank you. And would love to be more involved in National Women in Roofing, her New Year's resolution for 2021. So she's with ChemLink in Texas. How does she get involved?
Good question. And I wanted to tag on to what Christine said. And sorry, I'm on my iPad today, so that's why I'm a little wobbly. Is if you're on this call right now on this webinar and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I would love to be involved, but there's not a council near me or in my area, you can always start one. It's super easy, it's free, and you get incredible support from the board, from Christine, from me. We just had Central Virginia get going again. And you know, the resources are there because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a toolkit. We've documented the process over the years, so it does make it really easy. The other way to get involved is if you, Heidi, you're on the webpage right now, there's an events tab, and every council adds their events to this calendar. And I show up at different people's events because I can. It's virtual. Pittsburgh just had their first kickoff meeting. Christine and I were both able to join. Right before Thanksgiving, Virginia did their first turkey talks, I think they called it. And so we hopped on for a half an hour. So you can look at this calendar and find the events that are happening and choose to come to some of them. The other way to get involved is to join a committee. There are many committees on National Women in Roofing that if there's not a council in your area, you know, Christy Holbrook is a good example of someone who wanted to be involved. She works with Kyle Thomas. Heidi, I can't remember the name of the company.
Thomas Roofing.
Oh, boo. Okay. And she's in somewhere in the South. They didn't have a council, and she said, I want to be involved. And so she became a part of the membership committee, and participated monthly in the meetings, comes to the board meetings now. And there's opportunities on communications committee, councils, on community service. There are ways to get involved, and that information should be on the website, easy to find. But if not, feel free to reach out to any one of us, and we're happy. Like, who was it from Chem Lake that wants to get involved? Did you say Chelsea?
Melissa Simon.
Oh, Melissa. Hi, Melissa.
So we'll get back to her.
Karen at rooferscoffeeshop.com.
I love it. You know, Karen, you have done, I think, you and Christine have done such a phenomenal job on bringing people together on these councils and really getting past. Sometimes it's hard when you bring all these people together. There's a lot of, but what do I do? I'm not sure what happens. But meeting every week to help the councils succeed, that's a huge commitment.
Yeah, every Tuesday, 3 o'clock Eastern time. We are available from 3 to 3:45. Answer questions. And it's great too, because the councils share ideas then. Hey, we did this and it was a lot of fun and it worked. Hey, we did this. Nashville did a hybrid event outside in a park, but some people weren't comfortable, so they had virtual and in person. And you know, just talk about how did that work for you? How'd that go? So anyone's welcome. It's not just for leaders.
I am going to actually be on the Nebraska council call today. They invited me to attend, and so really this calendar is so true. In fact, Nebraska should be on here, so I'll mention that today. But this is really the way to do it. Oh, and Christy is with Graham Roofing in Mississippi.
Graham, thank you, Christy.
Had the wrong one there.
All right,
you know, and I also. So we have about 10 minutes left. So I want to real quick, Karen, Christine, thank you. You guys can stay on or go, however you want to do. Real quick, I want to talk, Jennifer, or actually Renee, let's talk a little bit about the future, like what's coming up for National Women in Roofing. I know you've had a management change. Maybe tell us a little bit about that real quick, and then what's happening.
Right. So we realize we've gotten to a point that, you know, our growth it's kind of gotten a little crazy. You know, we started out the first year with 524 members. I believe that was 2017. And the last I looked on the website today, I think it said 1,420 some members. And so just the scope of work there, we've gotten to the point that it's way more than Ellen and her team can take on. And, you know, really we were running Ellen ragged. So we went out and looked through the industry at different association management companies. And so we're doing what is called a hybrid with Civica. They're in Denver. And so Ellen's still our executive director. And then Civica is more in the background providing support. We still have all of our weekly meetings, executive committee with Ellen. Ellen's essentially our liaison back to Civica. Civica has an events committee that helps with National Women in Roofing Day. They help with communications. They've taken over the newsletter. There's some big ticket items that they're doing that either Ellen was doing or our volunteers were doing on committees. So this has been great for us. I think it's going to be a great push forward for us as well. I think we can be more attentive to our members, offer some different help. We've gone through some management tools with Civica, have some great new ideas to put out as well. So I'm super excited about it. In September, we had our board meeting. We put it off a few times, but we did a virtual board meeting. And honestly, it was fabulous. I mean, everybody was on there, and like maybe we had some glitches with computers or sound or whatever, you know, but at the end of the day, we made it through. The message got across, you know, all the committees got to talk and share information. And so we too have adapted to this whole virtual world, you know, from the top up going down.
Yeah, it's I thought that board meeting was awesome. I got to hear everything and still work,
Mhm.
which I know I probably wasn't supposed to, but since I'm, in that background spot, I can do that now. The real quick upcoming events, Jennifer Stone, on what's coming up, and then we're gonna end with the pitch.
All right, and then also we want to talk about our wonderful sponsors too.
Yes,
we want to
that's
talk about
the
that.
pitch.
Okay, so that was a great description, Renee, of our new management team. That was a tough decision for our board in the middle of COVID to take that leap of faith to grow our association instead of hold. And I think a lot of people in our industry are doing that. It really shows the resilience and future forward thinking of our industry. So I'm really happy we did that. It's already paying so many dividends. What's upcoming? Okay. Well, we have an annual reports webinar that's coming out that's going to talk about all of these goals, really go a little deeper too into what each of our committee goals are and the programs that are coming out. That will be in mid-January. As everyone knows, I think by now, the announcement has gone out. IRE has moved to August. So our National Women in Roofing Day will move to August, but there will be a lot of virtual content and ways for our councils regionally and nationally to get involved in the virtual event. So be looking for that. We have the Roofing Is campaign, which is, it's really going to be incredible and going to tie back into recruitment. And our communications and our recruitment team is putting that out. So you'll see sort of this Roofing Is come out. We also, of course, have educational webinars and content. We're focusing a lot on our mentorship, that one-on-one mentorship, and how we can develop that further within regionally and councils and affect, really be able to pull in more women regionally. So those are just a few of the things that we have planned for 2021. There's too many to list.
Everything. We also Diversity Day. We are partnering with NRCA on diversity. I don't know if that's what it's called, but we're going to call it that today. Diversity Day. And stay tuned for that. And we think March, sometime April maybe, that we're reaching out to working with other associations to push diversity beyond just women, but a lot more diversity into roofing.
Yep, the Diversity Forum, and there's 3 or 4 partners. I know for sure it's National Women in Roofing, the NRCA, and a couple other partners that are coming together for that forum. So that'll be virtual too, I believe. We'll see. Yep. So that's coming. Renee, what am I missing?
I think you hit on most of them. So, and I do want to throw out on mentorship. So we would love for more members to go in and update their profiles, letting us know, would you be willing to be a mentor or a mentee? I have a mentee, and she's just been as much of a mentor to me as I've been to her. I think you learn, I think they just bring a lot to the table. And Michelle Boykin puts out a quote on Facebook multiple times that says, find another woman that you can lean on and learn from. And that's really what mentorship's about. And so I just hope everybody goes out there and takes a look at that, because you never know who you can help.
Yeah, and I want to do a shout out to Rockley Roofing, because another company that really walks the talk. They are a sponsor. They're a platinum sponsor, just like KPost. And you know what? I'm going to miss some sponsors out there, so please do not be offended if we haven't said your name this hour. Because there's so many.
I mean, look at Beacon. What Beacon has been doing within their women's and leadership and getting involved. Their regional. There's a gentleman named Todd Skaggs, and he's pulled his regional teams and invites National Women in Roofing to come on and talk about it and talk about these issues and see where people can get plugged in. I mean, you have Tremco, all the women. I mean, Tremco, their sponsorship plus the amount of time that they let women spend too, a lot like JM, GF, all these companies, it's incredible. And that really is a wonderful way to get involved. It has your company, your company buys in, your women buy in, and everyone starts to click.
And they do. And so, ladies, just so you know, because of this talk today, Jennifer Kramer, who's an amazing lady with Suprema and Durbigum,
Yes.
just said that they are so proud to be sponsors, because both Durbigum and Suprema are sponsors,
Yeah.
and that she wants to get involved in 2021. She wants to be involved on a committee. So watch out, Jennifer.
Right. Oh my gosh,
Tell her to bring it.
we can't forget SRS and their
Yes.
concert and donating the profits to National Women in Roofing. I mean, there's so many. I'm so blown away. You can go to our website too and look at the sponsors page. You can also see all the women on the board and committees and councils, the companies that they work for, the involvement. It's overwhelming.
So one of the, and I'm sorry everyone out there, we're going to go a few minutes late. It won't be a lot, but we're going to go for a few minutes. One of the honors that I have is that I still get to work with National Women in Roofing as head of sponsorships. And so, or chair, whatever. I don't really have a title, but I do sponsorships. And so I'm just going to put this out there right now that if your company is, it is as simple as $1,000 to $25,000 if you want. And this is something that, again, what we've been talking about all along, enable the opportunity for women to become members in your thing, and men. I have to tell you, we have a lot of men who are members. This is something, when you believe in diversity, it's a group you want to be a member of. And consider sponsorships. This is an ROI that you have no idea how much it gives back to your company. And so it's very simple. You can reach out to any of us. You can reach out to me, to Jennifer, to Renee, to Ellen. It doesn't matter. But if you want to be involved and then have, just like Jennifer Kramer saying, we're sponsors, I want to be involved. That's all it takes. It's that simple. And it happens. So
and Heidi, we want them involved. You know,
yes.
We want them, sponsor companies, please, or anybody, just, have your women sign up and become a part of it. I think it'll just be an experience, that they'll grow from and just be so happy they've been a part of.
And again, walking the talk, a full volunteer leadership development program, opportunities to get involved. It just constantly gives back. I know I sound like I'm selling it, but I don't have to. It's just the truth about the whole of what it offers to people. And you can read some of these comments. I didn't even get to all of them, but Brittany's on here, Jennifer Trepane, Wendy Marvin, all of them are just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to say thank you to Jennifer and Renee, because your leadership has taken this association to the next level. And it gives me goosebumps and shivers, because it's just so amazing to watch the two of you co-chair to really show how women can work together and take something to a totally new level. And that's what you've done. So thank you for your give back to the industry. And roofing wouldn't be the same without you two.
Thank you, Heidi. I just want to say, it's even though Renee and I sort of help drive the ship, it's all of our board of directors and committees that come up with all these ideas and really have to keep pushing us too. And, we just try to keep up. So the shout out really goes to our board.
It does.
Every single woman who's involved. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. So we're going to wrap up here, but thank you all for being here today. I have to tell you, we could go another hour pretty dang easy. This coffee conversation has just been amazing. I challenge everybody watching to get involved with National Women in Roofing, whether through membership, through sponsorships, or by simply getting on the e-news, getting on to the website and understanding all the great things that are happening. And of course, National Women in Roofing is on Roofers Coffee Shop. So you can see their full directory, all their articles, and most importantly, the recruitment ad. If you're looking to look for people, go to National Women in Roofing, place your ad, and you will see it on Roofers Coffee Shop. It is our way of putting that voice out there to everyone that roofing is cool, and you need to be a part of it. So, ladies, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. I invite everyone to join us in 2 weeks. On December 17th, we are going to have our next coffee conversations, and it's going to be get the tissues out, because this is going to be heartwarming. It is Trent Cotney and Cotney Construction Law is sponsoring our next coffee conversations, and it's all about giving back. And Trent has Trent and team, John Kenny, they're all involved in National Women Roofing, and now they are helping to support roofing foundations. So we will have the chair people of the Roofing Alliance, of the Chicago Foundation Roofing Contractors Association, Florida, and the Davis Memorial, all on to talk about foundations, how to get involved, how to give back, and why they're so important to us bringing that next generation into roofing. So join us in 2 weeks, same time. We'll see you all. Thank you, ladies. Have a great day.
Bye.